Welcome to Grammar 5F. In this booklet, we are going to be reviewing verbals. We're going to learn a bit about present participles, and then we're going to diagram with the present participle. So let's jump right into our review of verbals. Remember, verbals are words or phrases that are a verb, but they act like another part of speech, like a noun or an adjective, etc. So if we're looking at our explanation at the beginning of the book, we'll start at the top and we're going to remember what infinitives do. Infinitives do a lot of different things. They can act like nouns, adjectives, and adverbs. So let's look at each of the example sentences at each time. So first we have my favorite pastime is to read. The infinitive to read is renaming what my favorite pastime is. So that will be labeled as a PN. Remember, these infinitives, since they can act like nouns, they can also be direct objects and subjects. So keep an eye out for that. Next we have the book to read is in the library. The same infinitive to read in this sentence is modifying which book I am referring to. So it's acting like an adjective because it's describing a noun. So now we're going to move on to how they act like adverbs. I went to the library to read. Why did I go? Because I wanted to read. So in this instance, it's modifying the verb in the sentence, which means it's acting like an adverb. And remember, adverbs can also modify adjectives, like in this sentence. This book is fun to read. How is it fun? To read. Why is it fun? To read. So remember, when you have an adverb and it's an infinitive, it will answer either how or why. It will not answer where. It's important to remember that all of these words and phrases, we're just analyzing them to see how they relate to each other within a sentence. This is going to be the whole theme for Grammar 5, and it's all about how we can convey different information with different phrases. So let's remember our last verbal that we've been introduced to, which is past participles. Past participles act as adjectives and only adjectives. So here we have Justin will eat burned toast. What type of toast? Burned. Burned is our past participle. It is modifying toast. So now that we have reviewed past participles and infinitives, we can jump into another new verbal, present participles. So let's look at the explanation for this as well. The present participle is a verbal that acts like an adjective. So just like the past participle, present participles only act as adjectives, no other function of speech. So now let's look at a few examples. We have the swimming pool was full. So swimming is our present participle and it's modifying pool. It is telling us what type of pool it is. It's for swimming. Therefore, it's an adjective. Now remember, you've seen present participles just like you've seen past participles before. Present participles were used as the progressive form of a main verb in Grammar 4. So remember, it can also be used as that main verb. Like in this instance, we have the team is winning the game. Our main verb, winning, is the action being completed by the subject. Whereas if it's a present participle, it's going to be modifying a noun in the sentence. Like in this example, we have the winning team was humble. Which team? The winning team, not the losing team, but the winning team. So just make sure you're analyzing how the word is being used in the sentence, if it's the action being completed or if it's modifying a noun. Let's look at two more examples. The baking sheet is ready. So first we have our subject sheet and our verb is, not baking. Baking in this instance is modifying sheet. So we're going to circle it and draw an arrow to the modified word. And then of course we have a predicate adjective, ready. Now we have the next sentence, mom is baking cookies. Mom is our subject, but what is mom doing? She's baking. That is the action taking place and being completed by mom. So in this instance, the present participle baking is our main verb and cookies is a direct object. This is what you'll be doing as you go through the booklet, and eventually we're going to put in all the participles, past and present, and we're going to put in infinitives. So once again, just take your time, ask yourself, what is this verbal doing in this sentence? And you should be okay. Just take your time. So the last thing we're going to go over is sentence diagramming with present participles. Let's look at our sentence. The new movie was boring. So our sentence has the subject movie. Movie is not completing an action of boring, right? It's just got was as our main verb, and boring is modifying the movie. Boring is our predicate adjective because remember, since participles act as adjectives, they can be predicate adjectives. And then we have two other adjectives, the and new. So now that we've identified each part of the sentence, we can diagram it. So we start with our one long baseline. We intersect that to create an area for subject and predicate. And then of course we have a slanted line because we have a PA. And then the last two lines we need to make come off of the subject because we have two adjectives modifying movie in the subject. So now we can start filling it out, our subject and verb. And then of course our PA is going to go right there. And then of course we just have our last two words, the and new, coming off of movie, our subject. And that's it. It's really straightforward. You treat participles just like any other adjective. Just remember that if you are going to have boring coming before movie, so it was the boring movie, then boring would need to be on a curved line underneath movie. You can see an example of that at the beginning of the book. So if you have any other questions, please contact the person who grades your grammar at your Gideon Center.